Which teacher humiliated you in public and acted like it was normal? Mine destroyed my confidence in front of 30 kids. But what I discovered about her real motives 15 years later got her banned from teaching forever. One day my friend Jake and I were sitting together in our usual back corner of Mrs. Patterson's 8th grade English class. We were whispering about the basketball game when she suddenly stopped mid-sentence and stared directly at us. The entire room went silent. I thought we were just getting a warning. I had no idea she was about to destroy my reputation in the most calculated way possible. She walked over slowly and said, "Since you two think you're more interesting than Shakespeare, why don't you come up here and perform Romeo and Juliet for us?" My stomach dropped. Jake and I exchanged panicked looks as she dragged us to the front. But here's where it gets twisted. She only made Emmy play Juliet in front of the entire class, including my crush Sarah, who sat in the front row. Wait, it gets worse. She handed me a pink scarf and said, "Put this on so you look the part." The class started giggling. I was mortified but tried to refuse. That's when her mask slipped. She grabbed my arm and whispered, "You'll do exactly what I say or you'll fail this semester." I was trapped. For 20 minutes I had to perform as Juliet while she made commentary. Speak more feminine. Juliet wouldn't sound like a dying frog, but I didn't know this was just the beginning. The next day she announced a new seating chart. Guess where she put me? Front row, center seat, directly in front of her desk. For the rest of the semester, every time I breathed wrong, she'd stop class and say, "Our little Juliet seems distracted again." She started calling me Juliet instead of my real name. Other kids picked it up. I became the class joke. But here's what I discovered that changed everything. 15 years later, I'm scrolling through Facebook when I see a news article. Local teacher investigated for inappropriate conduct. It was Mrs. Patterson. Multiple students had come forward describing the exact same pattern. She would target one student per semester for systematic humiliation. Always boys, always the same Romeo and Juliet routine. I wasn't her first victim. I was part of a sick pattern spanning 20 years. I reached out to other former students mentioned in the article. The stories were identical. Same pink scarf, same forced feminization, same psychological torture disguised as teaching Shakespeare. But here's the part that made my blood boil. She kept photos. The school found hundreds of pictures of humiliated boys in her classroom, all dressed up, all looking terrified. She'd been collecting trophies of her abuse. During the investigation, they discovered her teaching journal. She rated students on breakability and planned elaborate humiliation scenarios. My entry read, "Quiet, sensitive, perfect target. Mother works 2 jobs, won't complain, father absent, ideal for extended psychological conditioning." She'd researched my family situation to ensure I was vulnerable. This wasn't random cruelty, it was predatory behavior. The district fired her immediately and revoked her teaching license permanently. But the real victory came during her disciplinary hearing. I testified about the lasting damage she'd caused, minus years of therapy, social anxiety, trust issues. When I finished, she looked at me and said, "You're being dramatic. It was just acting class." The hearing officer's response was perfect. "Ma'am, you're banned from ever working with children again." Last month, I got a message from a current 8th grader at my old school. My teacher told us about a brave former student who helped make our school safer. "Thank you for protecting us." That message meant everything. Sometimes the adults who claim they're building character are actually breaking spirits. And sometimes the kids they tried to destroy grow up strong enough to stop them from hurting others. Mrs. Patterson thought she was teaching me about humiliation. Instead, she taught me about justice.